There comes a moment in every man's life when he realizes that drifting will no longer carry him, that he cannot think vaguely, aim loosely, act randomly, and still expect greatness. That thought, if left undirected, leads nowhere, and that only when thought is bound to purpose does life begin to rise. Until thought is linked with purpose, there is no intelligent accomplishment. Without purpose, the mind wanders. It drifts into fear, into doubt, into distraction. It becomes like an unanchored ship, pushed by every wind, pulled by every tide, carried far from the shores it longs for. But when a man chooses a purpose, when he takes hold of a clear direction and binds his thinking to a single aim, when he trains his mind to circle around one great objective, then he begins to feel the first signs of power. Purpose organizes thought. Purpose gathers strength. Purpose awakens discipline. Purpose turns the scattered energy of the mind into a concentrated force that nothing can resist. Thought without purpose is weakness. Thought with purpose is mastery. A man becomes powerful the moment he decides what he will live for, and the moment he refuses to let his mind wander from that decision. The majority drift. The majority wait for inspiration. The majority hope success will come through luck or timing. But the man who rises is the one who chooses, the one who focuses, the one who directs, the one who stays true. Aimlessness is a vice. It destroys men silently, not through catastrophe, but through waste. The waste of days, the waste of potential, the waste of inner strength. But when a man removes aimlessness and installs purpose, he steps into the ranks of the strong. He becomes one who thinks clearly, acts decisively, speaks with intention, and moves with direction. Every great achievement in this world, every business, every innovation, every empire, every transformation, began not with luck, but with purposeful thought. The thought that says, I will rise, I will build, I will master myself, I will stand firm, I will accomplish what I have determined. Purpose is that quiet voice within a man that refuses to let him fall back into weakness. Purpose lifts him above confusion. Purpose lifts him above fear. Purpose lifts him above the smallness of his old habits. A man becomes what he thinks. His character is shaped by the thoughts he allows to live within him. His destiny is shaped by the purpose he directs those thoughts toward. Every act springs from the hidden seeds of thought. Every decision, every habit, every result is the blossom of what a man has been thinking in the privacy of his own mind. Thought is the architect. Purpose is the blueprint. Character is the building. Destiny is the final structure. A man who lives without purpose builds nothing. A man who lives with purpose builds everything. He who would be great must think greatly. He who would lead must think clearly. He who would rise must think higher than he has ever thought before. The man who links thought with purpose becomes the master of his destiny. He begins to understand that every circumstance in his life is shaped by his inner world, that nothing arrives by chance, that his conditions reflect his thinking, that life gives to him not what he wishes, but what he is. Wishes are weak. Purpose is strong. Wishes drift. Purpose decides. Wishes float. Purpose commands. And this is why the purposeless man remains disappointed, not because life has denied him, but because his own mind has refused to support him. All weakness is born from purposeless thought. All strength is born from purposeful thought. A man who desires strength must think strongly. A man who desires success must think successfully. A man who desires achievement must think with purpose. And when the weakest soul, knowing its own weakness, embraces purpose, believing that strength can only be developed by effort and practice, that soul begins the great ascent. Effort added to effort, patience added to patience, discipline added to discipline, strength added to strength, and at last he grows divinely strong. Purpose transforms a man from the inside out. It sharpens his will, it strengthens his resolve, it purifies his thinking, it cleanses him of confusion, it frees him from the noise of the world. When a man fixes his mind firmly on a purpose, he becomes calm. Doubt falls away. Fear loses its voice. Distractions lose their grip. Purpose creates inner certainty. Doubt scatters thought. Fear distorts thought. Purpose gathers thought into a single line of power. And when doubt and fear are conquered, failure is conquered. For doubt is the shadow that breaks the straight path. Fear is the weight that weakens every step. When they enter, the line of effort becomes crooked, and crooked effort cannot succeed. But purposeful thought moves in a straight line. It pierces through obstacles, it ignores distractions, it rejects excuses. Purpose fuels energy. Purpose fuels persistence. Purpose fuels courage. Purpose fuels action. A man who carries purpose becomes difficult to stop, for he is no longer divided within himself. He is not pulled in 10 different directions. He is not confused by contradictory desires. He is not weakened by indecision. He is not troubled by the opinions of others. Purpose gives him unity. Unity gives him strength. Strength gives him achievement. All that a man achieves is the direct result of his own thoughts. All that he fails to achieve is the direct result of his own thoughts. Individual responsibility must be absolute. No man can live a great life while blaming others. No man can rise while excusing himself. No man can transform while denying his own inner work. A man rises in thought before he rises in life. He becomes strong in thought before he becomes strong in action. He becomes a leader in thought before he becomes a leader in the world. He can only rise by lifting up his thoughts. He can only fall by allowing his thoughts to fall. Thought is the internal lever of destiny. And the man who removes selfishness, indolence, confusion, impurity and fear from his thought and replaces them with clarity, discipline, resolution, courage and purpose builds himself into a being of power. Success is the crown of effort. Achievement is the diadem of thought. Purpose is the path that leads to both. By self-control, a man ascends. By purity, he ascends. By righteousness, he ascends. By resolution and right thought, he ascends. By confusion, he descends. By doubt, he descends. By weakness, he descends. By indulgence, he descends. He who would achieve much must sacrifice much. He who would attain greatly must give greatly. He who would rise beyond the ordinary must think beyond the ordinary. Purpose offers him a standard. Purpose offers him direction. Purpose offers him strength. Purpose offers him the blueprint for a life he is proud to build. And then comes the highest teaching of all, that a man who holds a vision in his heart, who cherishes a high ideal, who protects a great purpose, will one day realize it. Your vision is the promise of what you shall one day be. Your ideal is the prophecy of what you shall at last unveil. Dream lofty dreams, and as you dream, so shall you become. For dreams are the seedlings of reality, and purpose is the soil in which they grow. The man who enthrones a great vision in his heart will build his life around it. He will shape his days to serve it. He will strengthen his character to support it. He will refine his thought to protect it. Purpose becomes the silent architect of destiny. With purpose comes calmness. With calmness comes clarity. With clarity comes mastery. Self-control is strength. Right thought is mastery. Calmness is power. And the man who binds thought and purpose together becomes unstoppable, for he has risen above drift, above weakness, above confusion, above fear. He has become a director of life, not a follower of circumstance. He has become the captain of his soul. He has become the master of his destiny. But purpose does more than strengthen thought. It awakens a deeper understanding of life itself. A man who lives with purpose begins to see that every experience, pleasant or painful, is shaping him for the path he has chosen. Events no longer appear random. Circumstances no longer seem like accidents. Everything becomes part of his construction. Purpose teaches him that life is not happening to him. Life is happening for him. Every challenge becomes instruction. Every delay becomes preparation. Every difficulty becomes refinement. Every success becomes confirmation. He sees with new eyes that the world reflects the order within him, that outer results mirror inner discipline, that destiny follows the direction of thought, that strength grows in direct proportion to the purpose he holds. And as his purpose deepens, so does his responsibility. For the man who holds a great aim must also hold himself to great standards. He can no longer indulge in weak thinking. He can no longer feed the habits that once defeated him. He can no longer allow himself to drift into distraction. Purpose demands a cleaner mind, a steadier heart, a more disciplined day, a more deliberate life. Purpose is not merely something a man has. It is something he becomes. It shapes how he speaks. It shapes how he listens. It shapes how he chooses. It shapes how he reacts. It shapes how he carries himself when no one is watching. Purpose gives birth to integrity, and integrity gives birth to strength. Integrity means alignment, that thought, word and action point in the same direction. That the man is not divided internally. That he is not pulled apart by conflicting desires. That he is not weakened by inner contradiction. A man without integrity cannot hold purpose. But the man with integrity becomes a pillar. He stands firm when others bend. He stays calm when others panic. He remains focused when others scatter. Purpose becomes the quiet engine that drives his consistency. There are many who begin strongly but finish weakly, not because they lack talent, but because they lack purpose. Talent may open the first door, but purpose is what carries a man through 1,000 more. When a man binds purpose to thought, he turns difficulty into direction. He does not collapse when the path becomes steep. He does not turn back when storms arrive. He does not surrender his aim when results are slow. He understands that the road to any worthy goal will test the strength of his conviction, that the path itself is designed to shape him into the man capable of achieving the vision he carries. Purpose is both the destination and the transformation. Every step toward it builds the character required to reach it. And slowly, quietly, steadily, a great shift begins to happen. Where the drifting man complains, the purposeful man reflects. Where the drifting man fears obstacles, the purposeful man uses them. Where the drifting man blames life, the purposeful man studies life. Where the drifting man reacts, the purposeful man responds. Where the drifting man waits, the purposeful man advances. Purpose turns every moment into progress. Even rest becomes deliberate. Even silence becomes productive. Even stillness becomes preparation. Even setbacks become forward movement. And eventually the man sees another truth. Purpose brings peace. Not the peace of escape, but the peace of alignment. Not the peace of absence, but the peace of understanding. Not the peace of inactivity, but the peace of right activity. Purpose removes inner conflict. It replaces indecision with direction. It replaces chaos with clarity. It replaces doubt with confidence. It replaces fear with composure. And with peace comes power. Not the explosive power of force, but the steady power of discipline. The power to choose your thoughts. The power to direct your actions. The power to refuse distraction. The power to persevere. The power to rise. The power to endure. The power to accomplish. Purpose gives a man command over himself, and that is the greatest command he can ever hold. The man who governs himself is never ruled by circumstance. He becomes the architect of his destiny. He builds the future he envisions. He shapes the life he desires. For achievement is not an accident. Success is not a mystery. Greatness is not gifted. These are the results of a mind disciplined by thought and elevated by purpose. Every man holds this power within him. Every man carries the seeds of greatness in his thinking. Every man can rise if he will only decide to rise. Purpose is the decision. Thought is the power. Destiny is the result. And the man who unites these three becomes unstoppable. He has conquered himself. He has conquered fear. He has conquered doubt. He has conquered hesitation. He has conquered drift. He has conquered the inner forces that once held him down. The world will eventually call him successful. But long before the world acknowledges it, he will feel the success within himself. For greatness begins within. Purpose begins within. Strength begins within. Victory begins within. And as the man continues to direct his thoughts with purpose, his life unfolds with increasing clarity, increasing influence, increasing achievement, until at last he becomes living proof of this eternal law. As he thinks with purpose, so he becomes.